I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order. Before we begin, I see the Boy Scout Troop number 60 is here tonight to join us. Bill Carpenter, their troop, what's it called? Scoutmaster. If you would introduce your guys or have them introduce themselves.
You guys introduce yourself.
Shout it out. Come on.
I'm Isaiah Cole.
I'm Alex Lee.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. We always begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would the three of you want to come up and lead us in the pledge?
Don't give them the option.
Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. This way, guys. Flag's up here. Flag's right here. Okay, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, men. Appreciate that.
This is all part of citizenship in the Community Merit Act, so this is part of one of their requirements. That's why they do.
We appreciate you joining us. Try to stay awake. It's not real exciting.
That's your job.
I know, I hear you. We need approval of the minutes from our August 16th meeting, if we could, please.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same, and I need roll call, Phyllis.
Ken Collier.
Here.
Craig Koshaw.
Here.
Matt Dyer.
Here.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Here.
Wiley Sir.
Here. Okay, first thing on our agenda is a resolution to adopt the fiscal plan for the Adams County Correctional Facility, or the Miller Farm, for super voluntary annexation. It's Resolution 2016-9, and this is one of the last steps before we have our third and final reading of the ordinance for the annexation. Tim, is there anything you want to preface before we ask this to be read by short title?
No, this is just one of the procedural steps that's required by the statute. We reviewed the fiscal plan at the public hearing. There has to be a period of time from that until it's acted upon. We've passed that period, so it's appropriate to consider the adoption of the resolution at this time, and then following that will be the third and final reading of the ordinance that actually annexes the property into the city of Decatur.
Right. So with that, could I have a motion to introduce Resolution 2016-9?
You adopt it?
We have to introduce or just adopt?
Introduce it and then you adopt it. But on a resolution, you only read it once.
I know, but we already introduced it.
We already introduced.
Oh, it's already introduced.
Ah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ken. So all we need is a motion to adopt.
Adopt Resolution 2016-9 by short title.
Is that a motion?
In a second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim, if you would.
Okay, resolution number 2016-9, short title, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which sets forth the policy of the city in regard to the Adams County Correctional Facility Miller Farm property annexation.
Okay. So Resolution 2016-9 has been adopted. So our next step for the annexation of the Miller Farm or the Adams County Correctional Facility is the third and final reading of Ordinance 2016-8. If I could have a motion for such.
Make a motion to place Ordinance 2016-8 and by third reading, short title only.
Second. I have a motion and a second to place Ordinance 2016-8 in its third reading by short title. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Tim?
We need the ordinance.
I'm sorry.
You didn't memorize the short title? I took the short title.
I know. Ordinance number 2016-8, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which annexes certain territory to the City of Decatur, Indiana, commonly known as the Adams County Correctional Facility, Miller Farm property, annexation to the City of Decatur, Indiana.
Thank you, Tim.
Make a motion to adopt Ordinance 2016-8 on third reading.
I have a motion and a second for adoption of Ordinance 2016-8 in its third reading. We'll have roll call vote.
Ken Collier.
Yes.
Craig Koshaw.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Wiley Sir.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2016-8 has been adopted, and the land where the new jail correctional facility sits is now annexed. Our next order of business is another ordinance, which is for the approval of low-pressure sewer systems. Not that we have any, but that we, so that in the case of on West Monroe Street, for example, where we're going to likely run a sewer line so that we can tap in 8 to 10 homes out across from the Decatur Cemetery. We'll run a low-pressure sewer line out that way. But before we do that, we need to have the approval by way of ordinance. So, time out. You need signatures.
Those, you and Phyllis.
Okay, we'll get to those later. Okay. So I need to introduce ordinance 2016-10. And do we have a copy of that, Phyllis?
No, Tim's got it.
Tim has it, okay.
We hope.
Okay.
Make a motion to introduce ordinance 2016-10 on its first reading by short title only.
Second. Motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2016-10 on its first reading by short title. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same. Tim?
Ordinance number 2016-10, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which amends Chapter 54 of the Decatur Code of Ordinances of 2015 as supplemented by adding Section 54.016, which governs the use of and establishes requirements for low-pressure sewer systems.
Make a motion to pass ordinance 2016-10 on its first reading.
Second. Have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 2016-10 in its first reading by short title. I'll have roll call vote.
Sam Collier.
Yes.
Craig Koshaw.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Wiley Sirk.
Yes.
Make a motion to place ordinance 2016-10 on its second reading by short title.
Second. Motion and a second to place ordinance 2016-10 on its second reading by short title. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim?
Ordinance number 2016-10, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which amends Chapter 54 of the Decatur Code of Ordinances of 2015 as supplemented by adding Section 54.016, which governs the use of and establishes requirements for low-pressure sewer systems.
Make a motion to pass ordinance 2016-10 on second reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 2016-10 in its second reading by short title. I will have roll call vote.
Sam Collier.
Yes.
Craig Koshaw.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Wiley Sirk.
You laughing at me? Okay. Let me suspend the rules. Yes, please.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 2016-10 on its third reading by short title only.
Second. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and place ordinance 2016-10 in its third reading by short title. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same. Tim?
Ordinance number 2016-10, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which amends Chapter 54 of the Decatur Code of Ordinances of 2015 as supplemented by adding Section 54.016, which governs the use of and establishes requirements for low-pressure sewer systems.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-10 on its third reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2016-10. We'll have a roll call vote.
Sam Collier.
Yes.
Craig Koshaw.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Wiley Sirk.
Yes.
Ordinance 2016-10 has been adopted. Next up is a resolution authorizing and establishing a petty cash fund for the Decatur Police Department. Greg, is there anything you'd like to say before we do this? Is there a reason that we're establishing this petty cash?
Simply because before, we actually, the original one started with our POP fund.
Okay.
And it was basically our money. And so every time we spend it postage, we just like to be reimbursed for it. Now we want to get rid of that system altogether and make it under an ordinance where we have a fund available for postage.
Okay.
Postage has been going up and up and up, and we're spending more and more on this.
So the petty cash needs to be a little bit bigger, yeah. So this would be Resolution 2016-11. authorizing and establishing a petty cash. I'm sorry.
Change the resolution.
The numbers?
Did the board of works.
Okay, so this would be 12,
Yeah.
2016-12.
12.
So we need to introduce it and then adopt it.
Yes.
Make a motion to introduce resolution 2016-12 by short title.
Second. A motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2016-12 by short title. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Resolution number 2016-12, short title, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, authorizing and establishing a petty cash fund for the Decatur Police Department.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2016-12.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt resolution 2016-12. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Resolution 2016-12 has been adopted. Guess what? Next, we have another resolution. A resolution authorizing and establishing a cash change fund for the street and sanitation departments. And I believe that this is primarily just because of the sale of the totes. Is that the biggest reason? The only reason?
Concrete.
And concrete disposal fees. So this is going to be resolution 2016-13. And if I could have a motion to introduce it.
I'll make a motion to introduce resolution 2016-13 by short title.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to introduce resolution 2016-13. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim?
Resolution number 2016-13, short title, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, authorizing and establishing a cash change fund for the street and sanitation departments.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 2016-13.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2016-13. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Resolution 2016-13 has been adopted. Next up is an event form for the Belmont Homecoming Fall Jam, featuring a band and a concert that will be downtown. Craig Koshal will speak on behalf of the high school for this. If you would, please, Craig.
Yep, one sec, let me sign my name.
Okay. Kind of a piggyback off of our downtown concert series. It went so well that
You get the form there, Phyllis? I turned in an application to Phyllis to get on the agenda for this evening. Sean Farroot at the counselor at the high school has scheduled an event for September 20th. He's got a band lined up plus a warm-up act, which will be Michaela Griffith, which will be starting, I believe, right around 5 o'clock, 5 to 5:30. And then this is the Tuesday night of the homecoming, which will be playing Leo High School on the homecoming week. And funny thing is, the band is called We Are Leo, and it's they're promoting a grant that they had gotten from the Lutheran Foundation, Adams County Community Foundation, which is going to have a convocation then on Wednesday at the middle school and also at the high school for mental health awareness, bullying and some of these other type of things. So basically we got it lined out, went to the county commissioners, and we'd like to have permission to close down the streets between 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something like that. If we can get the street department, which I've already discussed with the police
set up at
department.
3 p.m. Event start around 5 p.m.
I think we went from, if you don't mind, from 3 o'clock until 9 o'clock in the evening. The restrooms, we'd like to have them open from about 5:30 to about 7:30. We checked with the sun's supposed to go down at like 7:39 that night, so the show will be over by then, so we don't have to have any lighting. I think the high school, I wrote on that paper right there, the high school will have, what do they call it, the college, the kids that are taking the college classes in high school are going to try to put on some, have food and some beverages there for the event. So the paper and the radios have the announcement, and they'll be announcing it, hopefully with Ryan Green through the Riverside Center as the event gets closer. But put that on your calendars, it'll be September 20th, Tuesday evening.
We'll be here.
Permission from you, I'd like to ask for permission to have that event.
Sounds great. We'll be here at the council chambers that evening, of course.
I make a motion to approve.
Before we do that, I did Google this band because I thought it was kind of unusual that we're playing Leo High School and the band is, what's it called?
We Are
We Are Leo. But we,
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
yeah, they're from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and they're not just a fly-by-night band. I mean, they travel all over the country, and I think they're a little bit more than a band. I think they actually will maybe possibly speak at this thing. And
Yeah, about halfway through.
yeah, so it sounds pretty cool, really.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
connected with the group that Craig was talking
Yeah,
about.
right. I think it's great. It just, like I said, piggybacks off of the downtown concert series. It's still going to be warm enough to do something like this, and I'm glad the high school's using it. So now, go ahead, Wiley.
I'll make a motion to approve this event request.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve this event form. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Next, did a little bit of discussion, maybe Jeremy and Melissa, if you would, discussion on the educational phase of the upcoming curbside recycling program. Melissa has been busy.
And so many of our community volunteers
Absolutely.
have come forward, and new faces to us volunteering, taking around green bags and putting them on doors. So if you don't have one on your door yet, they should be there by the end of the week.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you to all those community people that stepped forward, and we just put the little plea out by way of the newspaper article and the Facebook page, and you got plenty of volunteers. That's
Wonderful volunteers.
great. Yep.
And videos.
And what?
Yes.
Videos.
As we have curbside recycling starting next week, we're going to do a daily video, kind of a recycling tip for you every day on Facebook. So
Okay.
we're going to address a lot of the questions that we continue to be asked.
So what are the most common questions that we're getting asked right now?
Today's video is, what kind of tote can I use? Do I have to use the city's tote, or can I use my own tote? We're going to talk about sorting, some things you can and can't recycle that you might not know about. So
How many totes have we sold?
Probably 220, right at 225,
How many we get?
800. They're going out every day.
Melissa, are the videos only viewable through Facebook, or could they be put on our webpage?
right now they're on Facebook. I can certainly check to see if they're viewable on our
Yeah, because not everybody does Facebook, I know, so
You don't have to be on Facebook
to view it.
to view our Facebook page and all our videos.
You could
Okay.
put a link to the Facebook
Link it, yeah.
from the website.
Yeah, maybe you could get that link to Bob and Bob. The double Bobs. The Bobbsey twins. I'm sorry. Okay, any other discussion on the recycling? So far, we know that once we get started, which a week from now we will have started, we know that there will be hiccups and concerns, and we'll address them as they come, and we just ask the homeowners and general public to be patient, and we'll try to do the same. But any questions they have, please feel free to call Melissa, myself, or Jeremy. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay right there, Melissa. Decatur did receive some good news, and I saw an article in tonight's paper about it. It's called the Hometown Collaboration Initiative, and we did a little presentation for Okra and a couple of universities right here in this room a week and a half ago, and our presentation went well, and evidently they thought it did too. So,
Right. Decatur was one of 2 communities selected to be a part of this year's Hometown Collaboration Initiative. Decatur and Logansport were the 2 communities selected. And over the course of the next year, we will have coaches from Ball State and Purdue come in and work with Greater Decatur and our Greater Decatur supergroup. And one of the big needs we have is we know that we need more, but we have great volunteers, and it's time for some more volunteers. And identifying those people in the community that we're not talking to, from healthcare and nurses and moms, and we want to make sure we cover all the representations of our community. So on September 15th, we'll have a webinar that will give us some more information, and We're fortunate to be selected.
Yes, we are. I was I was very happy that we got this. I think it's at a perfect time. We got a lot of projects and initiatives that we want to tackle, and this help will be just a bonus. Agree, Greg? Give it a thumbs up. All right. Anything else on that, Melissa? Okay, thank you. Believe it or not, it's only 5 till 8, and I'm through all my agenda items, so down to the mayor's report already. Proud to say that Decatur sent 6 people down to Kokomo to help clean up after their tornado, and I'm going to let Jeremy talk about that when he does his report here. He wants to report on that and kind of tell the public a little bit about what you saw and what you experienced. Go ahead, Jeremy.
It's really cool.
Over the past couple of weeks,
Stuff like that.
obviously, Kokomo's it was unfavorable weather, was about 3 different tornadoes. Through the Indiana Associations of Cities and Towns, they sent numerous emails to all the locals requesting help, requesting different, bodies and equipment and such. I was fortunate to be with Joe Ewing the night that tornado hit at a conference. Obviously, Joe left right away. Joe's the street commissioner in Kokomo. We tried to communicate with Joe that night with no luck. We did finally get a hold of him the next morning, and he had a lot of concerns. So they started sending emails out for help. I know Ken received a couple of emails. I did also. Ken asked me to reach out to Joe to see what was going on and such, and see what kind of help that they were looking for. Basically, Kokomo was hit very hard. It's obvious. A lot of the media was focused somewhat on Starbucks and some of the other little areas around, but once we got over there, it's just absolutely amazing. The amount of work that's been completed, the damage is just unbelievable. That tornado, or the combination of the tornadoes, was about 8 miles, and that tornado was on the ground every quarter and a half mile, just bouncing as it went. They want to come across the top of the mall and got into the Starbucks. It actually basically jumped a road about to win the Coliseum Boulevard. Never touched any power lines, never touched anything. When it set back down, it went through a whole housing addition and damaged and or destroyed around 150 homes. It's the same housing addition that was hit 3 years ago. It was just in another area of the housing addition. It's kind of weird as you're driving through these areas, because the homes that were hit 3 years ago, people were still mowing their yards. They were still, trimming and mowing just like nothing ever happened. You go 4 or 5 houses down, there's people wandering around out the street looking for all their belongings still, and they have no home. We talked this morning in the department head meeting is how do you plan for something like this? I've been on the fire department for 20 years. We've had a lot of different planning. We've had a lot of different meetings, what we can do and such. You have a really hard time planning for something like this. I was very fortunate that I could ride with Joe Ewing from Kokomo for a few hours that first day that we were there. Joe showed me a lot of things. Joe's been kind of a mentor to me for the last 7 or 8 years. Different things to watch out for and such. So it benefited them by having our guys, but it also benefited me in the position that I'm in, is being able to work with Joe for those couple of days on all the ins and outs of the cleanup and such. But we hope we never have to go through that. I would go back and help Joe any day to keep the tornadoes away from here, and not have to deal with a lot of what they've dealt with. You can only imagine not having power for 9 days. What we beautiful house. There was trees down on top of the homes. You know, the little things that you just take for granted, your trash collection. Trash hasn't been picked up in 2 weeks because you couldn't get down the back alleys. They do a lot of alley trash pickup. Those tornadoes are just amazing. There was houses that were completely destroyed. The house right beside her just had a few shingles that were blown loose. It was just absolutely amazing. I sent back a bunch of pictures on Friday morning, and it's just, you wouldn't believe it's what you saw. City of Kokomo is very appreciative of all the help that they received. There was communities coming from as far north as Warsaw, all the way to the very southern tip of Indiana, including Decatur and a lot of surrounding communities. They also had a cleanup day last weekend on Saturday that they brought 200 people from Tennessee, some different church groups and such, up to basically go door to door and try to help some of these people that they were never able to do until between the group of us assisting last week to trying to get alleys opened up and trying to get the rest of the streets opened up. It's going to be a long process for them. You're probably still talking 3 to 5 more weeks before they're completely back to normal. Some of the homes, obviously they're going to have to tear them down. It pretty much stayed in residential this time. 3 years ago, they took down a bunch of a big Chevy dealership, like Union Hall, and a bunch of areas that was not affected this time. But if you can only imagine that half a block to 4 or 5 homes just shifted to the north, having 2 of them that close in a 3-year period, it's just absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
I did talk to Mayor Goodnight, and he wanted me to relay to you guys that they really, really, really appreciated the understanding and the letting hand that was given. By now, like he said, he does not ever want to have to come and repay us, but he said if he needs to, he'd be the first one.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. I talked to one of the 5 people that went with Jeremy. He was in City Hall here today, and I asked him, I said, so what's your take on going down to Kokomo? And I said, was it, worthwhile? And he said, man, he says, I just can't imagine that, happening to you here. And he said, it really made me feel good when I got home that night and laid my head on my pillow out, just how thankful I was. And he says, yeah, he was glad he could go down and help them. So, other department heads. Greg.
Those are good.
Ann? Les? Jeremy?
A few weeks ago, you guys approved the second round of street paving through the Low Special Distribution Fund. These are not rock solid dates yet, but around September 21st, there will be 2 rounds of paving. Get started with the completion probably mid-October. So all the streets that you guys approved will be taken care of yet this year. Everyone's just running a little behind all the additional work and stuff that's come out the last 2 months. That's it.
Good deal. Roger?
Nothing this evening.
Bill?
No, thanks.
Dan?
Nothing.
Melissa?
What was the completion date on that paving?
Mid-October. Council members? Phyllis?
September 20th will be our public hearing for our budget, proposed budget of 2017, and then adoption will be October 4th.
Public hearing on the 20th and passage on the 4th.
Correct.
Mr. Baker?
I think there's a happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. To the best community coordinator in Indiana, and of all the nation, all the whole world. Happy birthday, Melissa.
Happy birthday, Melissa.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill?
there is something. Tim, do we want to talk about planning commission tonight, the approval of...
The Verizon? Yeah, the Planning Commission met earlier this evening. The old Arnold's Restaurant is going to be raised, and a new Verizon store is going to be constructed at that location. Preliminary and final site plan approval was given this evening for that project, so that should be moving forward fairly quickly.
Okay. We did have our every other week, every 2-week meeting today on the progress report of the sewer job that's going on over here, and progress is moving right along. No hiccups whatsoever. It's kind of interesting when they dug across Jackson Street, when they got in that area, of all the things that they found buried there from when the bridge was built, which was, what, 1970, I think, something like that. They found all kinds of concrete and brick. They actually came across a very large tree stump that had been buried, but hadn't decayed one bit. And actually slowed them up quite a while to get that tree stump out of the ground. So, but nonetheless, they're moving right along. In the next couple of days, we're going to see First Street closed, that northern half block of First Street from Monroe to the alley. It'll be closed, then open, and closed and open, kind of an intermittent thing, while they start the interceptor line down First Street. So that's the latest on the sewer. With that, I'm ready for an approval of the claims. Actually, before I do that, any comments from the public? I'm sorry. Again, thank you, Bill, for bringing your troop tonight. Gentlemen, it's good to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Now, approval of the claims.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve our claims for this last pay period. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? We are adjourned. How about that?
Thanks for keeping
How about
it short.
that? How about that?